Hello, buddy. Welcome back to Just Lights. In today's video, we're going to be working on this Mark IV traffic signal school crossing light. I picked this light up probably about 21, 22 years ago from a little thrift store in Williston, Florida. This thing's been all over my yard from my driveway to hanging on the side of my shop and stuff like that. But it's starting to look a little bad. I'm getting some oxidation here. You can see where the paint's bubbling up. I'm sure it's separating from the aluminum and stuff like that. So it's going to be the best thing for me to do is get this thing cleaned up, use some paint stripper, some sand blasting, stuff like that. Try to get the visors off, get everything nice and cleaned up, shined up, put a little controller in there, make it flash, do its thing. So let's go ahead and get to it and see how this one turns out.
Alright, so I've already tried getting these screws out, and they're kind of rusted in there a little bit. So my game plan is to use my drill like I've done in the past, set my clutch, so this way you're getting the like that, and see if I can slowly walk them out without breaking them off inside the housing. If I do break them off inside the housing, then I'll have to either re-tap a new hole somewhere or something like that, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. So see how it goes.
Okay, so these screws are definitely not coming out. I tried all kinds of different things to get these things to budge, and they aren't budging. But these little tabs right here that hold the lenses in are loose enough for me to get the lenses out. So at least I was able to get those out, so I don't have to worry about taping those off when I go to paint everything. But these screws here on the outside, these things are not budging. I tried all kinds of different things. They are not moving. They are seized in there. I thought about getting one of those impact style hammers where you hit it and it's supposed to jar it enough to knock everything loose. But if I hit it wrong or something like that, I could crack my casting. Now I'm doing more damage than I want to do to the light. Now I'm just destroying the light. So I'm going to have to do something I generally don't like to do, and that's paint the visors on the light itself, just to make sure that I don't do any more damage than I really want to do to this light. So let's go ahead and finish getting this thing stripped apart and get it cleaned up. So like I said, what we're working on today is a Mark IV Industries light. Eagle Signal, formerly known as Eagle Flux, was a predominant traffic signal manufacturer. After being acquired by the Mark IV Industries back in 1987, the company produced several signal lines like the Durasig and the Mark IV aluminum heads, and this ran until about 1997 when Siemens acquired the name.
Alright, so this is pretty much as good as I can get them. You see I still got some of the corners. I might try to take something and see if I can kind of scrape some of that stuff out. But that's about as good as I can get it. It does look pretty rough still, but it's actually fairly smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to see if I can dig some of this stuff out. But I kind of already been digging out it a little bit with a screwdriver. I don't want to like scratch the aluminum or mar it to the point that you're going to see it through the paint. So I'll probably just try a little bit and then just coat it with a heavy coat of primer, and then paint the yellow on it, and hopefully it turn out pretty good. Alright, I got the yellow painted on there. As soon as that's cure enough to where I can put tape on there, I'll paint the black inside here, and then I can go ahead and start reassembly. Alright, so it's all put back together. The next step is I need to rework the original stand that I had it on. It was just kind of thrown together originally when I first made it, so I want to make it look a little bit better and then also get it working. I picked up a flasher controller that'll make it do the back and forth like the bouncing ball kind of thing. I have it sitting right here, so this will be, once I get everything mounted, I will get it wired up for that right there. If anyone's curious where I picked this up from, I picked it up from a gentleman on Facebook named Sean Bream. I'll put his name in the description. He makes all kinds of controllers for, say something like this. He made me a controller for my railroad light, and I've also picked up a couple different controllers for the regular traffic lights, and one for one of those kind of doghouse style traffic lights. So if you're looking for a controller, definitely hit him up on Messenger. He'll give you a price right then and there. Very good, very reasonable. Gets them shipped out pretty quickly. So I'll put his name in the description. So let's go ahead and start working on building or reworking, actually, the stand for it. All right, so here's the stand that I made for the light. Now, this is the biggest piece of pipe that I had at the time, and I just made a little base at the bottom, and then that right there went into the ground. But I didn't have it tall enough for the light to really sit on it really nice. So you see where I just added that right there because I didn't have enough pipe, for it, an extra piece of 3-inch pipe. And I was actually thinking about going and buying a piece of 3-inch pipe, but then I started measuring everything, and a 3-inch PVC pipe is the exact same outside diameter as this pipe right here. So it is, I cut this piece off that I was originally using. I'm going to weld a piece of pipe inside here, you know, just like a piece of flat stock or something. I can weld right to the base here, use this hole to make sure I get a good weld on it. It's going to come up to the length that I need it to be for the PVC pipe. And then this right here fits right over this, nice and perfect. I'll just have to hammer it on a little bit. That'll go on top of there. And I'll put a cap on the end of the PVC pipe. And what that's going to do is the metal piece inside there is what's going to allow me to anchor the bracket to for the light. And then once I paint the whole thing one color, it's all going to blend in. You really don't see this anyways because it's behind the light, but I want it to be look a little bit better than that I originally had on the top of it. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show essentially what I ended up doing here. Is I have a couple pieces of this street sign metal right here that has all the holes in it, and I figured I'd use that to my advantage by I put a bolt here that's going through this into here. I also put a second one down here so that I have a bolt down here. Now this piece of metal is actually long enough where it's going past this point here, so it's all the way across this whole thing. So it's nice and solid, attached to this piece of pipe right here. And then since this is the same exact diameter as my PVC pipe, essentially the size of a Schedule 40, I have it set up to where I have my coupler here. This will go on. Now it goes on pretty snug, so I'm not going to get a whole lot of play. I'll get a little bit of play, but not a whole lot of play. I'm going to make some noise for a second here. So that'll go on right there, just like that. Now, what I'm doing for the light itself is I have the one bracket that I have welded right here. I completely welded it on. So this way I have a nice solid platform for the light to sit on. So I ain't got to worry about it potentially being suspended by the top only. It's really actually going to have all the weight here. This is just to keep it from tipping over essentially. And what I did here is I just took a piece of pipe, cut it in half, put a bolt on here, made it to where I can clamp it. So essentially I turned it into like a giant hose clamp, pipe clamp. And then I took the other end of it and welded it on here. And then I have essentially my other half essentially is for the top half of the light. And all that's going to do is that'll just slide right over top of this. Now what my plan is I'm going to use this to simulate the light itself. So what I'll do is I'll stick the light on the bottom, and I'll be able to take this, push this right on top of the light, make sure I'm nice and straight so it doesn't look like it's kind of sitting like that. And then you just take a wrench, tighten this bolt up, that'll lock that in place. And I'll just take my cap, put my cap on the end here. Now I'm going to sand this down a little bit so the cap goes on easy. So this way, like if I go to take it back apart, I don't have to take a hammer and beat the crap out of it to knock it off. I'll be able to kind of push it off easily so I can slide this. And then the cap will go on there. This will all be painted one color so it looks really good. And then what I'll do is I'll probably take a piece of electrical conduit, put a piece of electrical conduit right here so I can run my wire inside here through the conduit, through that little hole right here that I made a long time ago when I first built this. And that's where I'll run my power. So I just kind of want to show you what I come up with for my pole essentially. And the next step is to get it painted. Then I'll mount the light to it, run the wires to it, and it'll be all done.
Okay, so here it is. It's all done, painted, looking good, doing its thing, sitting out here in the yard. So for the time being, I just put the cord back on it just so I can get it working. But I still got to get a piece of 1/2-inch conduit and run it from that piece right there down to that hole that I was talking about so I can hide the wire. And then I'm going to run the wire underground all the way to my shop. Either I'm going to go through the wall or around my garage door. And I'm going to put an outlet there and put a timer on it so I can set it to come on at, say, certain times of the day, just for the heck of it. Now, what I did for the light bulbs is I picked up some of those LED amber party lights to put in there, just because, with the amber bulbs behind the amber lens, it really makes that amber stand out a lot more than just a regular incandescent bulb. I think it actually looks pretty good. You guys will have to leave me a comment on what you guys think. But the biggest thing that I want to do with this thing is I wanted to get it all painted, get that oxidation off there so it didn't get any worse or anything like that. And I think it turned out really nice. But here we have my Mark IV traffic light made by Eagle Signal. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll see you guys on the next one, and thanks for watching.